If you love to travel, you are going to need a travel agent. And if you want the best travel agent, you are going to need Boolies Travel. Boolies Travel can help you with any kind of holiday wherever you want to go in the world, taking care of every last detail. From package holidays through to fully customized itineraries where you are completely in control of where you go and what you do. And the best part, there are no charges whatsoever. Rated excellent on Trustpilot. Start your next adventure right now by going to booliestravel.com.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Jason Bull Travel Podcast. And today I'm joined by Gemma from Riviera Travel. Hello, Gemma.
Hi, you okay?
I'm great, thank you. Yeah, I'm great. Yeah, thanks for joining us today. I really appreciate it.
Not a problem. Thanks for having me.
So just a quick one for everybody. If you're not already, just like and follow on the podcast and leave a comment as well so we can help grow that algorithm a little bit and just help push the podcast along a little bit more. So today we're going to be taking an overview of one of my favourite river cruise lines across Europe and beyond as I keep on growing, Riviera Travel. So first, Gemma, can you tell us a bit about yourself and kind of how you started off in travel, really, a bit of your history?
Yeah, so I went straight into travel from the age of like 18, 19 from college. Started as an apprentice it was Thomson back in the day, obviously now TUI. Always worked in sort of the cruise area. I've always had a touch point with cruise. But then, sort of worked my way up within the cruise industry, ended up working for actual cruise lines. So anyone who's a bit of a cruise geek might remember like Island Cruises, Island Escape, Island Star. I worked for them for a while. I've worked in the ocean arena for majority of my career, and then moved across into the world of river and escorted touring, which I am loving. I'll be honest, I didn't know if I'd love it as much as I loved ocean cruising, but I am sold, and I'd probably say that I prefer river cruising to ocean now, or at least it complements my ocean holidays, and put it that way. So yeah, worked in the industry for a long time, been very lucky that I've got to travel to some fantastic places, all in the name of work. So yeah, travel industry is just a lovely industry to be in, isn't it?
Oh, it absolutely is, yeah, 100%. So what is, out of all of your cruising trips you've done, so all of time, what's your most favourite you've been on?
Actual cruise. Do you know what? It is hard to choose because everyone has given me a different experience. I'd probably say and I'm not just saying this because I now work for Riviera, but I done a river cruise in October on the Seine in Paris, and it was one experience particularly that sort of blew me away. So we embarked, had dinner, and then they took us to the sun deck, and they sailed us up to the Eiffel Tower to watch the light show. And it was just spectacular. So you wouldn't get views of that experience from anywhere else, sort of even being at the Eiffel Tower. And that's sort of a core memory that'll stick with me. But like I say, I've been very lucky that I've visited so many different destinations, cruise and non-cruise as well. So it is probably hard to pick. I do keep going on my bucket list though. So I keep adding to the places that I want to go to. So that bucket list slowly gets bigger and bigger. I don't seem to be making a dent in it too much.
That is the biggest challenge in travel, isn't it? It's just trying to contain your bucket list because it just gets bigger all the time.
That's it. And you hear about a new destination. So we had a presentation on Japan a couple of weeks ago. That's now firmly on the bucket list as well. So you hear about these destinations and you've just got to try them, haven't you? Which that's the fun of traveling.
Yeah, absolutely. So what is your overview of Riviera? Kind of explain it to everyone who's never heard of Riviera before, and really who is it for?
Yeah, so Riviera, we have different products within our portfolio. So we're a river cruise and a escorted tour company is the core of our business. So we do European and worldwide river cruises. We do European and worldwide escorted tours. But then we also have within the portfolio yachts. So if anyone wants fancy a little yacht sailing around Croatia, we can do that. We have some ocean cruises on there as well. We also sell some Star Clipper holidays. So there is quite a lot within our portfolio. We also specialise in solo holidays. So we have a dedicated solo brochure, and that is across all products. So touring, yachts, river cruise as well, that we offer that. And that is one of our biggest growing markets as well, our solo market. But yeah, we are designing holidays for the British guest in mind. So we've been operating for over 40 years now. But yeah, it's very much for that British guest. For us, we always put our guests first. So, for example, I know we're going to speak more of the riverside today, but with our tours, a member of the Riviera team will go out and sample that tour before we even put it on sale, making sure the hotels are up to the right standard, the flow of the tour is the right way, that guests are getting, the right balance of included experiences and free time. And if anything isn't right, it will get amended. So everything that we do, the core of it, we've got our customer in mind.
That's good. And we always get great feedback on people who travel with you guys across the board. It's always very strong. And from an agent perspective, when we're dealing with you in advance of travel, there's always great contact from your admin guys. Everything's taken care of, lots of questions asked, nothing is left to chance really. So from my perspective as well, it's really reassuring to be able to kind of trust people with you guys, because I know they're going to be taken care of. Absolutely.
Yeah. And like I say, we've got things like, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week contact. So, if you have got customers away or your customers are away and, stuff that's out of our control happens, it's a flight delay or anything like that, they've always got a contact as well. So we're there to handhold them as much as they want throughout their entire holiday.
And you mentioned solo cruising there, and I've been trying to get my mother into traveling solo for a while. She tried going with some friends, but diaries clash and other kind of issues. So I've been saying, you've got to get out and you've got to go do some solo stuff for a bit and to try and discover, because her husband passed away, or dad passed away several years ago now. And there's lots of things she wanted to do, but life has got in the way. So I've booked her on one of your cruises for a solo cruise.
Amazing.
And she's going to be going out I should know this top of my head, this year anyway, this summer she's going out. And it's just the first place I went to, because I know she's going to be taken care of. I know she's going to be in great company, lots of good things to do. And I think a river cruise, she's in her 70s now, so I think a river cruise just fits her perfectly for exploring, but still having a comfort and kind of lifestyle that goes with a river cruise. So, yeah, it's the first place I went. I wouldn't take her anywhere else.
Solos, like I say, it's one of our biggest growing parts of our business at the minute, the demand that we're getting, so much so that we have dedicated a ship just for solo travel. So from June to November next year, the George Eliot will be a dedicated solo ship. We're the first in the world to ever do that. But I think when speaking about solos, a lot of people do think that it might be people who are widowed or single. That isn't the case. We've been doing a lot of research recently about who are actually going on our solo holidays. And there is people like that fall into those brackets. But there's also people who are married, happily married, but it's just that they do separate holidays. This is me stereotyping now, but husband might go off to Tenerife to play golf for a week. But actually, the wife wants to go off and explore and, wants to do a solo river cruise. So it's not necessarily all single people going on solo holidays, or husband might just want to get rid of the wife for a week and go off on a river cruise on his own. So there's loads of different mix and makeup, and that's what I think makes our solo holidays so good, because when they're speaking to each other, they've all got those different reasons why they're on a solo trip, those different experiences. But we get rave reviews for all of our solo holidays, really high rated from our guests as well. Because like I say, ultimately, we're looking after them every step of the way.
Absolutely, yeah. So moving on to what you get included then. So people who've never done a river cruise or any cruise for that matter, but they're interested, they've heard about them, they've heard their friends are going on them. What do you actually get when you book a Riviera, a river cruise?
Yeah, so with us, we include a lot in the price, probably more so than others. So speaking about just our European river cruises, because our long haulers are slightly separate, but with our European river cruises, you get your flights included, and we offer regional flying at no extra cost. So whether you're down south, Manchester, Edinburgh, Glasgow, wherever it may be, everyone is paying the same price, which for me as a northerner, my biggest bugbear is where you see a great deal from London and then you look at the price to go from Manchester, it's about £500 per person more.
Yeah.
That isn't the case with Riviera. So
Wow.
that all flights are included. You're met in resort by your Riviera representative, so your tour manager, and you're then transferred to the ship. All your transfers are included. Then to the good stuff. So we now offer an all-inclusive drinks package, which is available from 10 a.m. through till midnight. And the reason we've changed that, so last year drinks were only included sort of at lunchtime and then again from sort of 6 o'clock. But the reason we've done it is again just to make it easier for the guests. So do you know, if they come back from an excursion and they want a glass of wine before they go back to the cabin in the afternoon, or do you know, sit and read a book with a specialty coffee, they can do that and there's no charge to them. So it's now just sort of included. So in our drinks package, you've got your house wine, house spirits, beers, soft drinks, mocktail, cocktail of the day, teas, coffees, and stuff like that as well. So it is a really, really good package. And like I say, it just means you've got that ease. You're not getting any bill at the end of the cruise for drinks, because it's pretty much all included. I always do say as well, though, if there's a particular drink that isn't included in the all-inclusive, so maybe a specialty gin, for example, and you're paying extra for it, I was blown away with the prices. Actually, it's not that expensive. Again, because I've come from an ocean background, a lot of the stuff that I've compared when it comes to drinks and spa treatments, the prices are very vast.
Yeah.
So, you know, you're not going to have even if you're paying for an extra, couple of specialty gins, you're looking at maybe £5-6 for it. Whereas, especially on an ocean cruise, that'd probably be more £12 to £15. So,
Yeah.
and
That's
like I
good.
say, same with the treatment. So going off piste a little bit, but a lot of our ships will have sort of treatment rooms where you can go for a massage, facial, that type of thing. I had a look at the price list only a couple of weeks ago when I was on board, and it was €40 for a massage. So I know what I'm doing when I get on board in August. So I will definitely, and at those prices, again, compared to ocean where you're looking at $100 to $150,
Yeah.
I'll probably be booking a few of them. I'll be there every other day having a massage for that price. So yeah, getting back to what's included. So you've got your drinks, you've got all of your excursions included in the price as well. So
All of them? Yeah.
yeah, all of them. There might be a
Fantastic.
few where you can upgrade to, but
Yeah.
they're few and far between. On every itinerary, before you even book, you can see how many are included. So you might even have a 7-night itinerary, but you've got 10 included experiences. So that could be that you're doing one in the morning, one in the afternoon. On some itineraries, we even take them off of an evening. So the one of our Douro and Salamanca sailings, we take them to a vineyard for dinner in the evening. So that's classed as one of the
Oh, wow.
experiences as well. And like I say, there might be now and again an additional one that you can upgrade to, but you've got them included as well.
Yeah.
So all of them are included. We have changed it slightly for this year. On some itineraries, we might give them a couple of different options to choose from. And they can pre-book them in advance now instead of doing it on board. So if they definitely want to do X, Y, or Z, they can book that in advance. But yeah, all of your excursions are included. But one thing to stress as well, you don't have to do them all if you don't want to. So, you know, if one of the days you go, "Oh, we fancy staying on board and sitting on the sun deck or in the lounge reading a book," you can do that as well. So we're not, you know, it's not like we're knocking on your door and everyone has to go off and stuff like that. It's your holiday, so you decide what you want to do. All of your food is included as well. So you've got your breakfast, your lunch, your evening meal. Breakfast and lunch, so it's all in the same area. You've got the main restaurant. Breakfast and lunch will operate. You'll have a small sort of buffet area, and then you can order off the menu as well. And then dinner is your a la carte service. We do have an additional restaurant on all of the ships, which tends to be open for lunchtime. And then you can book in there for evening meal as well. And again, that's complimentary. You just need to book your space of an evening. But lunchtime, they do things like burgers, fish and chips, that type of thing in there as well. And then, like I said at the beginning, we are very much for our British guest. So there'll be no surprise that you'll find a lovely afternoon or high tea, whichever you refer to it, on board as well. So on the afternoons that you're on board, so it could be on every day, it could be on every other day, you'll have the afternoon tea, which I can highly recommend. I've sampled it just for research purposes a few times, and it is very good. So so everything is included, and even as well, I know I said you've got the all-inclusive. I know Brits love a good cup of tea or a cup of coffee. You don't even have to go to the bar for that. You've got stations around the ship as well, and you do have tea and coffee in your cabin as well. But if you want a nice, a fancy coffee, you've got stations around the ship as well where that's all included. So really, the quickest way to probably have said it would be the only thing that isn't included is your tipping. And maybe a little bit of money to spend when you're in these towns, villages, cities, if you want your fridge magnet and stuff like that. But even with the tipping, because we are British, I feel that we do tipping in the most British way that is possible. So everyone gets an envelope towards the end of the cruise, and you pop in whatever you want to tip, and you pop it into a box at reception. So we will always recommend the X amount per person per day is our recommended tipping, but obviously we leave the choice to the guests. And we've got our cruise director on board, which he sort of takes them through that entire river experience. So every evening he will do a talk about what's happening the next day, what the excursions are, what are the levels of it. Is there one group that's going to be going at a slower pace, one taking maybe bit more hillier route, that type of thing. But he also navigates that tipping as well, so he will do a little bit of a talk on what they recommend and stuff like that. So if anyone needs any help or guidance on the tipping, they can do that. But yeah, the price that you pay to go on a Riviera cruise, you're pretty much done. By the time before you've even left the UK, everything is kind of covered and paid for.
Yeah, I think my mother's going to be happy with that envelope tipping system, because she was on another cruise line and really hated the fact that she had to pay gratuities on stuff because the service wasn't there for it. And I think it's absolutely right. You should pay what you feel is right. And nobody minds giving a tip when you have great service. Kind of nobody really minds it, but being told you have to do something, and it's usually quite a high lump, is kind of a little bit of a push for some people. So that's good to hear. That's good news.
Yeah.
So talk us to the ships themselves then. It's obviously a massive part of the Riviera experience. And what kind of makes them feel so well suited to the British market?
Yeah, so first of all of our ships are 5-star rated. The thing when I first ever stepped onto a ship, the feeling that I got, it reminded me of like a boutique hotel rather than being on a ship. So it's sort of like that feel, very elegant in design. But yeah, like, again, coming from an ocean background, going to a river is a massive difference. I was used to sailing on ships of 6,500 guests to then go to a ship so my first one that I went on was 114 guests. So a big sort of difference. But I think the things that blew me away with the ships was the service. Obviously, you're getting that more intimate service, but just the layout of the ships, it's done so well. It might not be big, but you've got everything that you need on there. So you've got the lovely lounge area, which is my favourite part of the ship. So you can use it in the day. So if I'm on there working, I'll go and set my laptop up in there and work from there. Or if I'm on holiday, go in there and read a book, have a nice hot chocolate, that type of thing. But then you've got the lovely sun deck. So when the sun's out, you can go up and relax on there on a lounger or a chair, that type of thing. So everything that you need is sort of on that ship, but just in an easy to navigate way. So again, you go on an ocean cruise, it might take you 2 days, even longer, to actually get your bearings. Whereas on a river cruise, straight away, within 5-10 minutes, there's not too many places that you can get lost in. But yeah, with the British guest in mind, it's more the things that we add on, like the afternoon tea, the dining, the food and stuff like that, rather than the actual decor of the ship, because it's just that 5-star luxury boutique sort of look and feel across the ships. But a big one, I've touched on it already, but definitely tea and coffee in the cabins. I think there'd be uproar from the Brits if we didn't have that available. And you can even get breakfast room service as well. So they'll do like a continental breakfast room service, which is included free of charge as well. So if you want a chilled morning, then you've got that option as well.
Fantastic. And what about the most important for my wife, Kelly, whenever she goes anywhere, is the plug socket. What plug sockets have you got?
So it varies on ships, different ships. So the newer ships that we've brought in, they will have UK and European plugs.
That's good news.
Some of the existing ones in the fleet are European sort of adapters, but the first ship, so like the Riviera Rose, the Radiance, the Resplendence, the ones that have come in over the last couple of years, they've got the UK plugs, because I did make that epic fail. I went on the Rose first of all. Didn't need me adapters, and then a couple of weeks after, I went on to the Jane Austen and realised I'd not packed an adapter. But again, guest services so the reception are amazing. Went up and they borrowed me a load of adapters and plugs and stuff like that. So yeah, you're going to be looking at your UK and European or European.
Yeah, good. You just mentioned new ships there. So what's coming new in the fleet? What's kind of brand new right now, and what's coming in the future?
Yeah, so we've just welcomed, over the last sort of 12 months, we welcomed the Riviera Rose, which is built to sail the Douro. So she's actually our smallest European ship in the fleet. So she's 114 guests. So that was my first experience. The reason for the size is I learnt this a couple of months ago, that when sailing on the Douro, ships have to be a certain size to be able to get through the locks. So that's why she is smaller compared to some of the others. We also have the Radiance as well. So she debuted last year as well. So at the minute she's sailing that Danube itinerary, so into Budapest, that type of thing. But you'll see now and again they'll sort of move around doing the different rivers. But looking ahead, so we're going to be welcoming a brand new ship, the Riviera Reflection. So she joins the fleet in 27. She's also going to be sailing the Danube as well. The main difference between sort of those ships and our existing ships is just mainly the design. They're a lot even more modern in design. We've gone with that open plan. So they've got split level dining rooms, very open. So instead of it having a closed off lounge, it all flows through. So the reception area leads into the lounge area, that type of thing. We've added, so these fleet of ships have some of the highest number of suite accommodation that we have versus our existing ships. So they are very, very sort of beautiful in design. You'll go on and they'll have, a giant chandelier in the middle of the entrance, that type of thing. It is that wow factor. And then moving away from European rivers, we've also got the Riviera Alba, which is the picture in the background. So this is going to be our first ever custom built ship outside of Europe, and she's going to be sailing the Mekong.
Oh, wow.
So anyone who fancies doing that, Vietnam, Cambodia, Mekong. So this ship is even extra special. So she's going to accommodate 50 guests, but there's going to be 36 crew on board. So can you imagine the service that's going to be?
Wow.
And we're even doing 3 dedicated solo sailings. So for those ones, there's going to be 25 guests on board. So, and again, can you imagine that service? It is literally more than a one-on-one sort of service that you're going to get. But we have seen massive success in the bookings to the Mekong. Some of the sailings already sold out. And yeah, the ship's going to be spectacular. So our long haul ships run a little bit different with the drinks and stuff like that. They're not included, but we specify exactly what's included. So it'll be more included at dinner times, that type of thing. But yeah, anyone who has maybe done a European river and they want something a little bit different, I would highly recommend the Riviera Alba sailing the Mekong.
That's all for part 1 of the Travel Riviera podcast. Be sure to like and follow so you don't miss part 2,